Get another prep going here. I apologize if I cough or whatever during this. Still trying to get over this cold here. Boy, oh boy. I mean, I was caught off guard yesterday. I'll be the first to admit it. I did not expect a gap and go like we had yesterday with little to no give back. This market just continues to amaze me each and every day where, the bid is just so relentless at really outside value when it comes to price, right? And they just continue to push us higher and higher. And I mean, when you have a market, I think that is so almost built on options at this point, where the option flow is really just carrying the rest of the market. I think these are becoming crazy enough, the more common days to trade. I've talked about this before, how the balance profile is really a thing of the past. When you talk about a natural balanced profile, excess on the high, excess on the low, good 8, 9, 10 wide point of control in the middle with a strong value area, you could go back in time and see how many times have you had a day like that. You know what I mean? It's so uncommon now to actually get a balanced profile in this market, like a natural balanced profile. I mean, you get a lot of these junk days, right, where you get an IB and then, you pretty much trade inside the IB, maybe look above it, but there's no real auction to it. It's more just, stuck in the mud and value. But look how often these just, mind-blowing recoveries and rallies have come. And I think the ES is just becoming, it's getting more and more to a place where it's almost becoming untradeable for me. And what I mean by that is, I think there's better markets to trade right now. I think a lot of things are causing these type of moves. I think there's a crazy influx of new money still coming into this market. And I think you're getting a very crowded market now. I think the ES is becoming too crowded. I think there's too many day-time frame traders with not enough strong money pushing on the market to keep it in, more realistic range. But that being said, what do we watch for today from yesterday is really M&N's low, which would be that late flush that they had, which flushed out all the late longs that were chasing it. If they can hold that, you should expect that 4,500 number is well within range. I mean, we're at 4,492 in the Globex session. 4,500 should be the target. There's still obviously some Fed stuff to come this week. Will that make a difference? Who knows, right? The market is slowly drawing away from carrying, I think. It's not as emotionally reactive as it has been. But from a structural standpoint, M&M, from yesterday would be, your pullback area. If buyers can hold that, 4,500 would be your target. And if that fails, I still think 64 to 58 area is your next supportive level to potentially get long for that 4,500 test. Now, when you get close to these type of numbers, it always obviously brings excitement. It also brings a lot of call volume and put volume into the market because it's such a large strike. So keep that in mind. As I said early, this market is driven based off options, it feels like. So that's something definitely to keep in mind. But for me, I see nothing in ES. I have no interest in even looking at it today and even thinking of putting a trade on. It's just become, I don't know. It's just, how if you've ever traded equities and you got into a trade in a stock that too many people are trading, it just becomes a crowded trade. If you've ever been in a crowded trade, or if you don't know what a crowded trade is, definitely look it up or reach out to somebody, reach out to me or comment, and I'll answer it for you. But when something becomes too crowded, effectively the market's not going to respond the same way. It almost changes in the dynamics, which makes it very difficult to plan for. And I honestly just think that's what ES has become. It's just become too crowded of a market. So today I'm more focused on RTY. RTY, again, we popped right through our 21-day moving average off this big recovery here. I'm still in the camp where I still think 2320 is the target for RTY on the upside. How long it takes us to get there, who knows? But this is the second look below balance that has failed as of now. Pretty much any pullback towards 2160, I want to be long. I want to look to get long, and I want to continue to build along. So that's kind of where my mindset is today with RQI. I already know what happens at 02 to 2210. It's been happening over and over and over again, but I'm looking for a pullback, maybe to fill in the gap or maybe get into that gap for potential buy area for that ultimate target that I have at 2320. So that's the market I'll be mostly focused on today. NQ, when the market starts doing stuff like this, and this kind of leads into what I was saying about, the ES kind of just being funny right now, but NQ is doing the same kind of stuff, right? Like when you get a big push like this in K period that just draws out, all this is this just crushed anybody who had stops up here. That's all that was. It's a complete stop hunting move that happens in the least liquid, aspect of the market, which is the Globex session. And since then, they've just completely crushed the market. So on NQ, we've talked about this over and over and over again. The further you get away from this blue line, the more and more the odds start to stack up for a liquidation back towards the blue line to find support. That's what I'll be watching for in NQ. If that does happen, it does come down to that blue line on the day time frame, I will look to buy it. Otherwise, it's just for me another watching market. So, I'm kind of dialing it back right now. I know a lot of people are still enjoying trading this. I'm exhausted myself. I've been exhausted from trading this. We just went through a year of crazy volatility. Now that volatility's dried up, and it seems like we're still just dealing with madness, right? And it continues as long as the Fed keeps, dumping. That's why I think this week a lot of people are keeping their eyes on it to see what's the Fed going to say. So, I'm really not looking to be involved in the market much this week at all. Yesterday, I got caught fading this move. Obviously, it caught me off guard. If you watched my video yesterday, I didn't plan for that type of day at all. I was looking for more of a balanced profile. But I think you're better off just waiting until next Monday or Friday or something. Once we know what's going to happen with the Fed, or I shouldn't say no, but once they start to give finer details on more details on what the mindset is for the Fed and what they're going to do, I think it's very beneficial just to stay away. I really do. I think this market is going to chew people up in this week. I think it's going to be a crazy choppy type market, or you could just continue getting these wild, aggressive, really no reason for them type moves, and just kind of have to live with it and sit there and kind of just understand that there's going to be better days to trade. There's going to be more days to trade. You don't have to get that involved that quickly all the time. Like, for instance, yesterday NQ opened and just skyrocketed, right? Same thing that ES did, skyrocketed. And when you're taking a look at sectors and the the equity side caught up to the index side, which is, that's not usually how it works, right? We're trading simply, the group of companies that are built into the index. And when the leaders of that are chasing what the market is doing, it tells you how diluted this market and how crowded this actual, the actual market itself has become with options trading and, volatility and so on and so forth. And it just makes it a lot difficult, like I said, a lot more difficult to, find good executions on good risk and reward. So given that, we'll see what happens this week. Like I said, I pretty much went to bed yesterday saying to myself, why are you even trading this week? Like, just wait and see what happens. Wait how it all comes out and go from there. So that's my mindset. I'll watch RQI and see what RQI does because I think it's an interesting market. The other two can just do their own thing for a while. I have no interest in getting involved in them. But that being said, I appreciate you guys jumping on. If you ever have questions, make sure you comment and I'll answer them. If you have questions about what a crowded market is, if you've never traded a crowded trade or a crowded market, something you definitely want to reach out and ask about, because it's if you get caught in that whatever that thing is called, a blender, you'll get turned off very quickly from trading. So trade well, trade safe, make sure you trade your plan, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.